Do you expect this war, the economy, health care, all these things to begun to be the ghost of Christmas past, present, and future knocking on the door of Republicans?
Michael, you're absolutely right. Donald Trump and the Republicans have lost independence. I mean, the people who voted for Michael Lawler put him there because they thought that he would have some independent judgment. And he failed to stand up to the president when it came to this war. He failed to stand up to the president when it came to protecting health care. He failed to stand up to the president when it came to the release of the Epstein files. So they're looking at this and saying, you have been basically a lapdog for the president, and his policies are a fundamental betrayal of the American people. It is a huge issue, and the issue that viewers should know is Donald Trump and the Republicans have lost independence. That is the biggest slice, other than the parties of the American electorate.
There's a big date coming up for Congress, April 29th. That's when it will have been 60 days invoked by the War Powers Resolution of 1973, when the president would need to come before Congress. So my question to you, we have this reporting from our colleagues at MS Now, Kevin Fry and Michael Schnell. The Democrats are sensing that there are potentially new GOP defections on a war powers vote. One House GOP lawmaker granted anonymity to discuss internal dynamics told MS Now that come April 29th, the date I just referenced, a lot of Republicans would be ready to support a war powers resolution. The issue is already coming right at the end of this month, and if they don't come to us by then, they're in violation of the law, the House Republicans said, and that's when you'll see many of us saying no mas. Is that your understanding, too? Are you hearing that from your Republican colleagues, that April 29th marks a defection point?
Yes, we are. When Thomas Massie and I introduced the War Powers Resolution, we only had 2 Republicans. Now I'm hearing almost 15 Republicans. Why? Because we've lost 13 service members, because many of our troops are at risk of losing their lives, because gas is up to over $4 a gallon, because people are offended that Netanyahu is bragging that J.D. Vance, the vice president, is reporting to him. How about reporting to the United States Congress? I mean, this administration has insulted Congress. They're more concerned with reporting to people like Netanyahu than they are to the American people. And the Congress is tired of it. What happened to America first?
I mean, it's a very, very good question, sir. I want to take a turn and ask you about some news that we got tonight, that Congressman Swalwell is going to resign from Congress after news of that sexual misconduct probe. The congressman has repeatedly denied the allegations. In his resignation announcement, he conceded only to making mistakes in judgment. Prior to this, he suspended his campaign for governor. I've talked to a lot of Democrats, a lot of people who say that Swalwell is, and they have said this privately, they will not say it publicly, that Swalwell is being targeted and that far too many people jumped too quickly to throw him over. And then I've talked to a lot of folks that said these allegations are very serious, and frankly, they are shocked. You know him, you know his family, you've met his children just like we all have. What is your take on what we are learning about his alleged misconduct?
The allegations are so disturbing. They're so shocking. He needed to resign. I mean, I can't in good faith be talking about survivors of the Epstein class and calling for accountability, and then not a call for accountability of members of Congress. But here is what we need to remember. When Democrats have this type of an issue, we call immediately for resignations and accountability. How about the fact that we have a president of the United States who has engaged allegedly in sexual assault repeatedly, and no one is calling for accountability there? How about all of these powerful and rich men who raped underage girls with the Epstein files, and no one is calling for accountability there? So, yes, let's have accountability for Eric Swalwell, but let's not let off the hook the president or other people in those Epstein files. It needs to be accountability for everyone who abuses the law.
So on that point of accountability and transparency, I thought it was very telling, going back to Congressman Mike Lawler from New York. On the Epstein files, there was this interesting exchange between him and one of his constituents. Take a listen. I'd like to get your thoughts on the other side.
All of the information it's not being erased, folks. This is, by the way, to the previous question, this is the problem. Nobody believes anything that is being put out.
No one believes anything that is being put out. I wonder why that is, Congressman.
That could be our midterm campaign. I finally told the truth. I mean, the reality is the corruption of this administration is extraordinary. I mean, this president has been making millions of dollars on crypto. He has linked doing political favors and pardons for people who help his family. He has gotten us into a war without even coming to Congress and betrayed his promises. And he's covering up on the Epstein files. And so, I think Lawler finally told the truth. This is about character. It is about the American character. It's not actually about ideology. You have a president of the United States who have literally betrayed our values and who we can't trust. And this is why we're going to have overwhelming wins this election in the fall. As long as we come out and as long as we are on guard for the election interference and all of the cheating they're going to do, we can have an overwhelming mandate in the fall.
We talked about Eric Swalwell. We've also learned tonight that Congressman Tony Gonzalez plans to file his retirement tomorrow. Will there still be an appetite for expulsion vote among other members of Congress?
I don't know. I mean, I guess the expulsion, what it would do is make sure that they could not run again, as I understand the law. But I do think the fact that both of them have resigned.
Sorry, Congressman, my apologies. I was not clear on my question. I mean, some of the other members, including Corey Mills, who have been floated as potentially also being candidates for an expulsion vote, those who have not yet announced a retirement or a departure from Congress.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question. Yes, I do think Mills is someone who we need to look at. I mean, look, I don't view these things through partisan lenses. I think if you do take actions where you're having inappropriate sexual relations with people who are subordinates, if you're being accused of sexual assault or rape, yes, you have due process and you shouldn't be put in jail until you have the Justice Department. But no, I don't think you should be serving in the United States Congress and honor only 11,000 people ever have had in our country. I believe we can ask that you not have those kind of serious allegations against you to serve in the United States Congress.